Hello, I'm James Stewart, Sheriff of Anoka County, and welcome back to the Sheriff Show. On this episode, we'll head out on one of our Canine Unit's training days, take a look at the serology division of our forensics lab, take a dip below the ice with our dive team's ice training, and we'll also feature our Minnesota Deputy Sheriff of the Year, Jessica Slovak. We'll head out on the road to learn more about our transport unit as well. The Sheriff Show starts next. Our canine units are responsible for a variety of tasks in order to keep our county and the citizens that we serve safe. Their tasks range from criminal apprehension to locating drugs and other illegal material. They can search for evidence and help locate missing people, and if needed, locate explosive devices. Let's head out with Deputy Brian Collier to see what it takes to train our canine units and make them ready for whatever situation may arise during the course of their duty.
Hi, my name is Deputy Brian Collier with the Anoka County Sheriff's Office. I'm assigned to the court security unit, but I am an explosive detection canine handler, and I have an 8-year-old black lab mix who's an explosive detection canine, and she's trained on all the different explosive compounds that are either military grade, commercial grade, or any type of chemicals or powders that you can use to make an explosive device. For this training event on the trains today, we placed different explosive training aids into the compartments. We got boxes that used to having success finding explosives in the environments and teaching the dog of where we want the dog to look per se. The difference between my explosive canine and say narcotics canine or apprehension canine is my dog's specifically trained to alert to explosive devices. And the way it searches is a little bit different than say a narcotic dog or apprehension. Nothing, we'll check on it, we'll clear it, it's no big deal, don't be afraid to call. So remember, if you see something, say something.
As you can see from this brief segment, a lot of time and energy goes into having a successful canine team. Our canine unit consists of numerous teams that all work hard to always be ready to protect and serve you should the need ever arise. We'll be right back with more of the Sheriff Show after this.
What is that guy's problem? That was the most irresponsible... This aggression will not stand, man.
I'm not sure what's about to happen next, but we're already off to a really bad start. And this situation is only going to escalate. So let's back up, figure out what could have been done differently to avoid this. 66% of traffic fatalities are caused by aggressive driving. If you witness somebody who's driving aggressively, don't take it personally. Take a breath, think about this, calm down. That'll get your heart rate lower and you'll better control your emotions. Also, don't engage with people by staring at them, looking at other drivers, or responding to their provocative behavior. They might just be trying to get a rise out of you. Be the level-headed person, be the smart person. Remember, half of drivers who get provoked are going to respond with their own aggressive behavior towards you. And do you really want to be stuck now in that confrontation? And statistically, an increasing number of these incidents involve a firearm. And do you want to be stuck in that kind of a situation? Stay smart on the road. Keep in mind the potential consequences. It's not worth winding up in prison or worse yet, dead. See you out there on the road.
Our forensics laboratory is one of the finest in the state. Serving Anoka, Sherburne, and Wright counties, the forensics lab has the capability to process evidence locally in a quick and efficient manner. Let's go to our lead DNA scientist, Ann Seco, to learn more about one of our forensics lab divisions, serology.
Well, what I'm going to show you today is our serology tests and how we do our pre-screening before we actually do the DNA profiling. So we spend time selecting samples that will go to DNA profiling. Once we get a DNA profile from items, we can compare that to a known sample from an individual that may be a suspect or a victim in the case and see if it matches them. And if we don't have a suspect in a case and the profile is a good profile, we can search our DNA database, and there are multiple levels in our DNA database. There's the local level, which is our lab. There's the state level, which includes our lab, the Minnesota State Laboratory, as well as the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office Crime Lab. So we could search our profiles against theirs. And then there's also the national level of the database, which allows us to search our DNA profiles against the entire nation and in some cases, some other countries. But I can put my mask on and show you some of the tests we do and how we examine evidence, and a little bit more about how we process evidence. We often get evidence in which we're looking for the presence of blood on the items. This test is a very simple test called phenolphthalein, and it's a 3-step process where we use 3 reagents: ethanol, phenolphthalein reagent, and then hydrogen peroxide. I'll swab the stain so that it gets a little bit of the stain on the swab. Then I will take the first reagent and I will add 1 or 2 drops onto the swab. Then I take the second reagent and add 1 or 2 drops on the swab. And then I add the third reagent, 1 or 2 drops on the swab. If blood is present, the swab will turn pink. If blood is not present, the swab will stay white. So along with the P30 test, we also have a test for the identification of sperm to show if semen is actually present in a sample or not. We would take that sample, put it on a slide, heat fix it, and then we stain it with what we call a Christmas tree stain. It's 2 dyes. We do the red one first, and that stains all the sperm heads red. And then we do the green stain next on that sample on the slide, and it stains all of the other stuff on the slide, such as cellular material or debris from the cells. It will be stained green. That way, the sperm heads are red and stand out when we look at them under the microscope. This is our dark room, where we are examining evidence for the presence of body fluids such as semen, saliva, and sometimes blood. When blood is not visible on a dark clothing, sometimes it's visible under an alternate light source. So we have a crime light, approximately 450 nanometers for a wavelength. So it's kind of similar to a black light that you may have seen on TV and crime shows. In this particular area here, I do not see any stains, and I'm wearing the orange goggles. In this particular area here, I do see a big fluorescent stain under the light wearing the orange goggles. So I would further test the stain for the presence of a body fluid. Our laboratory services the 3 counties of Anoka, Wright, and Sherburne. So whatever crimes are going on in those 3 counties, some of that evidence could end up in our laboratory.
If I had been told that we would have multiple lab sections with scientists working for the sheriff's office when I started my career in law enforcement, I would not have believed it. Then again, I wouldn't have likely believed half of the technological advances made in this profession. The scientists in our labs are one of the teams that work within the sheriff's office that always strive to grow and learn in order to effectively meet or exceed the needs of our communities. We'll be right back with more of the Sheriff Show after this.
It's all right, buddy. I'll be right back.
Me? I'm a kid. Yeah.
If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities. Maybe you're commuting to work, going to school, or out running errands. We all play a role in keeping our community safe. Report suspicious activity.
Our dive team is ready to respond to all types of water-related issues across the county and beyond. Their readiness depends on the variety of training they receive throughout the year. Let's head out with the dive team as they conduct their annual ice dive training to get a glimpse of how they stay ready.
Good afternoon, I'm Sergeant Cryer with the Anoka County Sheriff's Office dive team. And today we were out at Twin Lake in Nowthen, city of Nowthen, conducting some ice dive operations, which are an annual training event for our Sheriff's Office dive team. We cut about a 6-foot triangle over the, or in the ice, and that allows for the divers to have a large enough area to have 2 divers in the hole at one time in case there was a problem. The reason we cut a triangle in the hole in the ice is the reason or the rationale for cutting that triangle in the ice is so that the divers can back up to the corner of the triangle, and they're easier to pull out of the hole as opposed to like a circular hole or a square hole. We have a tent out over the hole that we cut into the ice, and we have our divers actually inside a shelter during their dive. What constitutes a ice dive for us, or a training dive for us, is that we plan our dive to include at least one safety diver and a 90% ready diver to support our actual diver in the water. So we'll have 3 divers out over the hole or out near the hole, ready and getting ready to go. And when the primary diver goes under, we have another diver ready to go if there was ever a problem. What we intend to accomplish on our ice dive is to be comfortable, number one, with being under the ice, which for a lot of people isn't necessarily a comfortable place to be. Under the water is one thing, but being under the water and under an ice shelf is certainly an element of diving that has a technical piece to it, but also has a bit of having that overhead structure adds a little bit of stress for a lot of people. So accomplishing some degree of comfort, being in that element, is part of the process of diving. And once we get into the water, what we generally do is we have a platform near where we cut the hole, and our divers will use search patterns to find the platform, access the platform, see if there's been any changes or movement or anything's altered on the platform, and then conduct other patterns in keeping with the time that they have underwater. So today we aren't looking for anything other than the platform out there, and just to be comfortable under the ice, in the water, and have a safe dive. Our communication system involves a dive tender, if you will, or a person that's on the surface that has communications headset and is able to communicate with the diver by way of a corded communications rope. We do have breakdowns, and often and periodically we'll have them mid-dive. So in that situation, we revert to a pull system where, with the tender that's tending the rope on the surface, will give a series of tugs to the diver to communicate with them. And conversely, the diver can give tugs to the tender. We'd like the public to exercise extreme caution anytime they're on the ice, and that's all year round. The ice is it's unpredictable, it's never a guarantee, and being forewarned is certainly forearmed when it comes to being in an environment like this that's potentially deadly. So we want the public to be cautious, be smart, and not push the limitations of the ice itself.
As you can see, they spend a lot more time in the frigid water than I do during the polar plunge. My goal is to get out of that water fast. Their goal is to train, to get better, to be ready, and to serve whenever duty calls. We'll be right back with more of the Sheriff Show.
My day job currently is I'm an aftermarket service rep for a material handling company. I'm a second-generation firefighter, and it's been in my blood since I was little. In the fire service, we get to do great things for the community. Nothing can prepare you for some of the things that you see, but the guys that are with you help you get through it. The people in the fire service become your brothers and sisters. My parents are proud of me continuing on the tradition of firefighting.
Anoka County needs firefighters. Visit mnfirehire.com for more info.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Find fun activities to do, like boating and biking, or camping and hiking, plus much more. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
The Minnesota Sheriff's Association recently selected our own Jessica Slovak as Minnesota Deputy Sheriff of the Year for 2015. Jessica is a member of our crime scene unit and consistently pursues excellence in the course of her duties. Now let's visit with Deputy Slovak to learn more about her role, and the award.
Well, I'm a deputy with the Anoka County Sheriff's Office. I've been here since December of 2006, so I'm just starting my 10th year. I've worked as a detention deputy in our jail division, a patrol deputy, a court security deputy, and now my current position is a deputy in our crime scene unit. Outside of work, I am the mom of a sweet little 2-year-old girl named Elizabeth, and I'm also a wife. So between work and family, I live a very busy and active life. I was given an award for being the 2015 Deputy of the Year with the Minnesota Sheriff's Association. So as a deputy in our crime scene unit, I am responsible for responding to scenes throughout all of Anoka County. And those scenes range anywhere from your property crimes, so residential and commercial burglaries, or if a vehicle has been stolen and then recovered, we'll process those. And then all the way up to your person crimes, so robberies, assaults, shootings, sex crimes, and then we do all death investigations, whether it's suspicious in nature, homicide, anything of that sort. One of the recent scenes that I was recognized for was a murder case out of Andover, in which I was the lead crime scene investigator on, and worked also very closely with Fire Chief Jerry Strike from the Andover Fire Department, as well as detectives from our Criminal Investigation Division and my partners here in the crime scene unit. But the scene was very extensive. It involved the defendant, Mr. who owned the residence, and at that time he was renting a room to our victim, and they had been having some landlord-tenant disagreements throughout the day, and in the evening doused the victim with gasoline and lit him on fire. The victim ended up sustaining burns over 80% of his body, and he eventually did pass from those injuries. The scene was quite extensive. It involved a lot of arson work, a lot of evidence collection, and I spent an extensive amount of time processing that scene, not to mention all the follow-up that went with it, analyzing and examining evidence back here at the Sheriff's Office, preparing those items for analysis, and doing follow-up search warrants at that residence. Approximately a year later, that case went to trial, and I was one of the key witnesses in that trial, and I testified for approximately 4.5 hours, in which I received a lot of positive feedback from. I feel that I was given this award for going above and beyond in not just one specific instance or case, but for constantly or consistently performing above expectations. I talked previously about the homicide trial or the murder case that I worked, and then I had some other achievements and accomplishments throughout the year. I am very proud. It's probably one of the most rewarding parts of my career. I've worked very hard towards getting from the jail division to the crime scene unit, and it's just been very motivating. I've definitely got a high standard to live up to now, and you know, my hard work doesn't stop here. I've got more good things in store, and I look forward to what the future will bring. Well, I definitely can see my entire career here being at the Anoka County Sheriff's Office, and in the immediate future, I'd like to just continue gaining expertise in the area of crime scene processing. I think there's always so much to learn. No one scene is ever like the other, regardless of any similarities. There's always a lot of differences that you can learn from. And with technology, they're always developing new tools and procedures that can be used to assist and help us with our processing. So just staying on top of all those trends and all the new technology. And I'd like to take on more projects and responsibilities. I do have aspirations to work as a supervisor, and like I say, I look forward to what the future will bring and any opportunities that will present themselves.
Deputy Slovak has consistently demonstrated that she not only understands what it means to be an ambassador in the community, but she embraces it. I am privileged to be the sheriff of an office that is filled with professionals who strive to exceed your expectations, and Jessica still stands out. Congratulations, Deputy Slovak, on this much-deserved, prestigious award. We'll be right back with more of The Sheriff Show after this.
Get caught buzz driving, and you could use some hard time.
Craig, knock it off.
Sorry, Mom.
It could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And that could set you back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all working with United Way for a million little reasons. The kids of our communities. To ensure their academic success all the way to graduation day. You see, it takes about 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a kid becoming one or the other could be a professional athlete, or it could be you. Studies showed the earlier we get to kids, the better their chances. So become a United Way volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, and make a difference in the life of a child, for the life of that child.
Give. Advocate. Volunteer.
Live united. Join your favorite NFL players. Take the pledge. Go to unitedway.org.
Our transport unit has the task of transporting criminal and chemically dependent individuals across the state and country. There may be a variety of reasons that one of these individuals may need to be transported, from needing medical attention, attending court, transferring to another facility, or more. Let's ride along with Deputy Shell, who can tell us more about the Sheriff's Office Transport Unit.
My name's Deputy Stephen Shell. I've worked with the Anoka County Sheriff's Office for approximately 16 years. I had 3 years law enforcement experience prior to that. I work in the Justice Services Division of the Sheriff's Office, mainly assigned to transporting prisoners and mentally ill and chemically dependent individuals. Criminally, we pick up individuals from, like I said, other counties. We also pick up from prisons, federal prisons, state prisons. Sometimes we even, it's called an extradition, where we, once a governor is either signed a warrant or the person has waived their rights, we then would go out of state to pick up people from either other counties, jails, or even prisons, and sometimes even federal prisons out of state.
Okay. In the process of transporting prisoners to and from Anoka County, these are some of the tools that we would use. This is a leather waist belt that would go around their waist. It has a standard set of cuffs that are fixed to it, so that basically the hands can't come up above the waist is the intention. And then, like I said, they're just standard handcuffs that would go on the wrists. Another set of tools that we have are ankle shackles. They work very similar to handcuffs. They're just larger in size. Then they go on the ankles so that an individual can't run. They have to shuffle pretty much. But otherwise they work the same as the handcuffs. Another tool that we have is flex cuffs, we call them. They're disposable. Basically, if we had a large mass arrest from like a riot or something like that, you could put these on. If we ran out of the normal restraints, you just put these on and tighten them up to whatever tightness you desire, and then those would just be disposable. You'd cut them off once you got them to the jail. The van has two different compartments. It has a center compartment where it's got 2 seats and it would sit comfortably 6 individuals. This back compartment here would seat about 3 comfortably, because we do transport male and female together. So we would want to keep them separate. So say we had 1 or 2 females, we'd put them in the back here. And if we had 3 or 4 males, we would put them in the center compartment.
Being assigned to the Anoka County Sheriff's Office Transport Unit, we are tasked with bringing outstanding criminals to justice through the court system, and also to help individuals of Anoka County with either their chemical dependency or their mental illness, and to try to make them able to live on their own in the county of Anoka.
Most people do not think of this type of role within the Sheriff's Office. However, the transport team is one more behind-the-scenes element that is critical to our ongoing success story. Thank you for tuning into the Sheriff Show, and we'll see you next time.